Hi, this is Dennis with Second Chance Tackle. Today's episode is going to be a combination of things. Every now and then I have a few ideas for what the next video should be. And every now and then, well, the ideas just don't seem to have enough to stand by themselves. But if you put them together, well, it's kind of fun. It's a miscellaneous sort of a thing. So we're going to call this one Odds and Ends, a Surprise, and some flea market finds of all things. And hopefully you will enjoy it. Well, the odds and ends, the first piece is actually something that I kind of forgot about. Every now and then we see these opportunities, let's call them opportunities, pop up on Facebook as ads that tell you you can buy a fishing reel and they'll throw in a fishing rod and for free. And they tell you that, highest quality and all that other sort of stuff. I saw one of them pop up recently. And, I decided I was going to order it. We've seen a lot of these reviews that I've done lately. Well, they're just not quite what they seem like they should be. And so, we're going to do a review on it. But let's take a look. First, let's take a look at the reel, which is what I paid for. And then the rod, which was included for free. And, you can tell the first thing you always wonder about is packaging. And anybody who's going to send a fishing reel in a plastic bubble wrap sheet. This one is the Obalis. I'm sure some of you may have seen these show. It's called the Cobra Strike No Nonsense Bait Casting Reel. We're going to do a video on it, but of course I don't like the way that it looks just from the beginning. I'm trying not to be prejudiced as I do these reviews, but I figured if I can spend some money and find out that it's either a value or it's something to stay away from, then it's something that will add to your appreciation of the channel, your understanding the fishing tackle industry, and rods and reels in general. So we're going to do this as a video. It's an Amazon reel. It's actually a Facebook reel, and we'll see. It's a no-nonsense bait casting reel. We'll see how that stands up. Initial impression is, it looks nice enough. It's got some kind of graphics in there. So I'm absolutely certain that this can't be the case. 19 plus 1. You might as well have 20 ball bearings in a reel. And it certainly doesn't spin like the ball bearings are in the spool. And it feels like about a $19 reel, which I guess is less feel than what that reel should be. Looks like they've also thrown in some kind of a little bass plug as well. Well, with that came the rod, which was free. Not free, included in the sale, I guess. I'm almost afraid to open this one with a knife because, well, I'm just never quite sure what you're going to get. And particularly the way that first reel was packaged. I don't want to break anything that may not have already been broken. And again, it's kind of an interesting way to ship a rod. I'm sure this is in multiple pieces. And while I take this off, I want to encourage you to subscribe to my channel. And if you like these kinds of videos, if you'd like to see more, if you subscribe, that's the best way to know when I'm posting. And, if I'm posting, you can see if that's a video that you would like to watch. So here's one called the Proficient. I guess that's the way you would pronounce it. And again, the packaging is kind of beat up here, so I would think that you would want to take a little bit more care and concern if you cared about that rod and reel. The good news on this one is it's a travel rod. I'm not sure I anticipated that when I purchased it, but it is a travel rod. And for the most part, it seems like the travel rods that you can find at any flea market for about $10 to $15 maybe. All right, well, we're going to open that one up and do it. Like I said, we'll do a full review of this. We'll do an exploratory in terms of where in the world you might find 19 plus 1 ball bearings. Of course, what you don't find is any contact information, any manual, any schematic, or any way other than, whatever's on the side of the box here to tell you what this rod and reel is all about. Again, I do these a lot of times. Figure I spend my money so that you don't have to spend your money and be disappointed. Well, let's call that one the odds and ends. Well, recently I had the opportunity to take a brief trip to the Outer Banks of North Carolina. And when I go on these trips, I always bring along a little trusty rod and reel combination just in case I have the opportunity to go fishing. My go-to is a 6.5 foot rod. The rod is a St. Croix rod. It's a Viking. This one's been around a very long time. And it's a 2-piece rod, which is what I like. You can collapse it, put it in your car, and do well with it. The go-to reel, well, it's about a 20-year-old reel now. But yeah, it's one of these reels that you just like. And I know that from time to time people say lousy reels, but I just have nothing but success with this. This is a Penn Captiva. It's the Captiva, in this case I think it's the Captiva 2, the 6,000 size reel. And well, I took this one to the Outer Banks, to a very famous fishing pier. The fishing pier is called Jeanette's Pier. It's located in the Nag's Head section of the Outer Banks, not far from Kitty Hawk. And well, it's a nice, very busy, very popular pier. And I had 2 days there. So what I did was the first day, I bought the walk-on pass. The walk-on pass, I think, was $2 to just go out and see what was happening. I walked out, took a look around, got all the way to the end of the pier, and I noticed that there was a group of folks out there doing very well catching bluefish. And bluefish, for those that may not be aware of them, they're pelagic fish. They start as what we call snapper blues in the estuaries. They come up into the next size we call cocktail blues. They're basically 1 to about 3 pounds. And then they can get up to, well, 15, 20 pounds, and monster blues, if you will, later in their lives. Well, these folks were catching the 2 to 3 pounders. It looked like it would be fun. So I stayed overnight. The next day I grabbed my rod and reel, decided I would go out there and see how we did. The blues were there. The fishing was fun. And there's a surprise. Now, hopefully this surprise here will load in, because I took it on a phone, not on a recording camera. So if it doesn't load in, well, that'll be your surprise. But if it does load in, stay tuned. It's about 30 seconds, and I'm going to hope that it'll be a good surprise for you. Well, the last one then in the segment is actually kind of fun. I don't even know if it's going to fit in the frame. But on my way back, I decided I was going to stop in an antique flea market and see what I could see. And I don't even think we can get this all the way in camera. So let's see if we can pan back a little bit. Yep, you got it. It is a big bobber. This thing is probably 18 inches in circumference. It's called the Big Bobber Floating Cooler. And, well, sometimes you just buy things because, well, they look like fun, right? This is a floating cooler, but that's not the only thing I purchased. I purchased a couple of fishing reels while I was there. They're always good to me to be fishing reels of the day. They can be project reels, they can be restored, or they can be used for parts. So 2 of them actually are going to be good reels. The third one I'm going to have to see if I can find something for. So let's go to the first one, which is the J.C. Higgins 400. This was sold for parts. I think it was $5, but I think the best part of all of this was that there was 25% off in that booth. So for $4, I guess, $3.75, whatever that was. I have a J.C. Higgins reel that's missing its pawl and tie down. And, well, whether I ever find one or not, I don't know. I have a couple of these around. I don't know who made this for J.C. Higgins. I typically would say it would be Shakespeare or South Bend. But Shakespeare made a lot of the South Bend reels. Could be Bronson. Not sure. But at any rate, that was my $5 one. And then the other two were $10. And I thought these were kind of interesting. I guess they take the tags off of them for whatever reason, but I guess that's to tell a vendor it was sold. It was in one of these big flea market kind of things in Virginia. And both of these, if you look at them from the back side, they're identical, right? And they're both Shakespeare reels. They're both made in 1954. That's the code, model FG. But one is a model Thrifty, and the other model is the Acme. And quite honestly, the only thing I can tell differently is it appears that this one has got a German silver finish on it, and this one not. But both of these work. Now they're loud, of course. 54, what is that, 70 years, 71 years? I don't know how many years they've been sitting on that shelf there in that flea market. This one's all tangled up here with that sale tag, but it does work. But regardless, see if we can back it out the other way. There we go. So we'll do a couple of things with this. We're going to do a fishing reels of the day, just because, well, it's one of the reasons I bought them. And the other thing is we'll take it apart, and we'll tune them up, and we'll see if they're identical inside, and if it is just the fit and finish that makes the difference. So there you go. Some odds and ends. We've got a project reel here that we're going to look at. Again, initial impressions say don't jump out and buy this one, but we'll take a look at it. What was this one? This was the Cobra Strike by Obalis. And if any of you have an Obalis and you want to comment on that, please let me know. But again, when I see 19 in 1, it just tells me that somebody's exaggerating how many ball bearings in there. I hope you enjoyed the surprise. I hope it shows up. It was on my day on the pier, Jeanette's Pier in Nags Head, North Carolina, with some great blue fishing going on that day. And I hope you've liked the flea market finds. So that's it. Some odds and ends, a surprise, and some flea market finds. Before I leave, I want to thank our first responders, our police, fire, safety, and rescue, everybody involved in keeping us out of harm's way. I appreciate what you do day in and day out. And I want to thank you for your service. I want to thank everybody for watching. I'll tell you, if you have the opportunity to go fishing and meet a bobber, well, I hope you're going for sharks or something, because this one certainly is big enough to take it down. This is Dennis with Second Chance Tackle, wishing everybody a great day.